Kyrie Edwards here, running for Maryland's 4th Congressional District. It's actually finally warm enough today to wear a t-shirt. Woo-hoo. I'm so happy. Though I will probably put on a jacket once I walk outside, because I am a baby. Anyways, I'm also a nerd, which should not shock you whatsoever. But I was listening to the news, and it's always funny hearing British people talk about, war, and they describe things in a very neutral kind of way that we do too, but, it just sounds different with an accent. But anyways, they were talking about sending, and they listed all the different kinds of well-named aircraft. They have some helicopters that wildcat helicopters that they're sending with anti-drone capabilities, and some of their I think 4th generation fighter jets they're sending to Qatar, and this is all basically in response to the alleged attack on Cyprus. There was an attack yesterday by a drone that looked Iranian, but Iran says they didn't do it, and also there's been plenty of other people that have disputed it and said that it could have been the U.S. that did a false flag attack on Cyprus and Syria in order to try to draw other people into the fight to fight Iran and possibly invade the country, so the U.S. doesn't have to send its own troops on the ground, because for whatever reason we've made the distinction that blowing people up from the sky and the water and people still being shot out of the air and such is less warlike than if we send in troops. And to be real, it's just because if we send in troops, the Iranians can actually shoot them, and we'll have more than 6 people dead. So Donald Trump doesn't want to do that. He wants to convince other people to do that. But anyways, back to me being a nerd. So if you're a fan of Star Wars and you read the expanded universe, or even if you watch the Disney TV show Rebels, a very good TV show. It's animated, so if cartoons aren't your thing, you should watch it anyway. But it's, I want to say 4 seasons, maybe it's 6 seasons. I think the Clone Wars is 6 seasons, and this is 4 seasons, and it's very good. It took me a while to get into the graphics, but the storyline is supreme. And you learn more about empires and rebellions, and what's the difference between a rebel and a terrorist. It just depends who you're talking to in a lot of cases. Then you learn in any K through 12 education. There is a race of beings in Star Wars called the Chiss, and they have the Chiss Ascendency. And the whole thing is they're a far removed superpower that is definitely an empire, but they won't call themselves an empire, because empires are actively expanding using militant tactics, and no one likes an empire. But if you're just ascending and bringing everyone into your ascendancy and improving them, bringing some democracy to the areas, if you will, then everyone's okay with it. And they have a tense treaty with the New Republic at one point, the Empire at another, to where basically they're not going to expand into their territories, and they're going to let them go do their own thing in their own hemisphere. And they have they're most well known for being strictly isolationist, and they have a doctrine of only attacking when they are defending themselves. And so, of course, their most talented and smartest member is in the old timeline, either sent or volunteers to go explore the galaxy in order to see if there's a way where he can find new information and techniques and art and food and technology that he can bring back to the Ascendancy and he likes to study other people's cultures because he's not a racist, and figure out what he can glean from like their art and stuff. And there's really cool scenes where he looks at a painting and then somehow figures out how to win a space battle. But the important part is that strategic defense. Thrawn is his name, regularly puts himself in a situation to where he tricks the enemy into attacking him so that he can attack back. And he just keeps pushing the envelope on what counts as defense and what counts as offense. And so I'm listening to these British people talking about how they are placing assets to protect bases that are not theirs, by the way. They're the United States. But whatever, NATO ally. So you can stretch that definition a little bit more about if they're defending themselves. They're defending an ally. But then they have to tweak it a little bit more because that ally is nowhere near home and their bases are being attacked because they invaded another country. So they have to say they are there to defend America to defend America, who is actively using their forces to try to destroy Iran's missile launchers to prevent them from being able to possibly strike European bases in the future. And Cyprus is a European base, which is why it's suspect at best to believe that Iran actually did take a look around and decide to strike them and do, it seems like minimal damage to a civilian area, and all that just to make people mad and draw them in. Iran's strategy is to draw in other people, and it is to make people upset, and it is to cause general confusion and terror in the region. But they're trying to bring in people on their side or make other countries afraid to participate. And the U.S. is doing some of the work for them. If we're honest, there were reports that leaked that the CIA was paying a member of the Kurdish military, if you ask them, terrorist group if you ask the United States, because we did designate them as a terrorist group. But remember, when the U.S. pays terrorists and arms them and trains them, those are not proxies and they're not terrorists. Those are freedom fighters that we are assisting to help them liberate Iran. And what are they going to do if they actually do go in and liberate there? Are they going to leave? Or are they going to say, wow, maybe we can get Kurdistan? And if they are successful, is Turkey going to keep participating? Because Turkey's chief goal in life seems to be to prevent Kurdistan from ever coming back to be. Because, there's a few nations that want to return to the Ottoman Empire, and Turkey likes how things are, and they don't want any changes. And Iraq is fine letting some people that they also termed terrorist groups because they killed Iraqi soldiers, and the U.S. asked them to designate them as a terrorist group. They are also fine with them leaving because they don't have to deal with them anymore. So, but it's okay. None of this is war because it's all defense. If you are defending yourself, even if you're way over there, it's all right. It's strategic defense, and that's why it was, and still legally is, the Department of Defense and not the Department of War, because we are defending ourselves. But I guess in this day and age, the best defense is an offense, even if the people that you're attacking were never going to attack you. But now that you've attacked them, they have a vested interest in making sure they cause as much damage and devastation as they possibly can for years to come. So, but why Star Wars?